Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the tank review for the brand new British Tier 9 Premium Medium tank, the Cobra. Now the Cobra is a fairly memey, situationally decent tank. It's got a 4-round 120mm autoloader that is filthy when you get to actually hit it and use it, but for the most part it's fairly derpy, so you need the right situation. Also the reload is pretty damn long. So you just need the right situation for the tank to work. So you need the situation where people leave you alone and then let you pop over and just drop a whole clip into someone. And when you pen the Hesh rounds that you have on this tank, that is a pure meme. You could just meme full Hesh if you wanted to, but to be competitive you want to use both heat and Hesh. And even the 364 shot clip as well is also pretty dirty. But again, you got to be able to use it. That's the situation for it. It's the Ultimate Season Pass tank, which is for 6,000 gold, which actually technically the tank will cost you 4,000 gold because the other 2,000 is just for the Season Pass. And it's a 17,500 gold tank. So you're getting this tank for 4,000 gold. That's an absolute steal if you ever wanted to pick this tank up. That's really cheap for a Tier 9 medium tank, for well, premium tank anyway. So yeah, there is that in there. But like I say, it's decent. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just decent. And it's all down to the fact that that clip is filthy, and the intro clip at 1.5 seconds, the same as a TVP, is absolutely dirty. But that doesn't make a tank generally. I don't know. I think I've had a good time with it. Some games it's been like, oh my god, this tank's ridiculous. And other games it's been like, oh my god, this tank's just pain. Right? That's just the way it's been. It's been feast and famine. So let's get into the stats, which, by the way, we're not going to have a garage section, and I'll show you the crew and the equipment that I use when we go into the replays, because this update has broken the game for me. I can't... The garage is so laggy, and then it freezes and breaks the game for me. If you manage to launch a game, it's fine, and I can play games, which is how you got the replays for this, but if as soon as you touch the garage, it just goes extremely laggy, and the game breaks, and then my whole game shuts down. So I can't show you that bit, unfortunately, today, which is why we're back with this stats page and the ThankyouG for the Armour model, which is exactly the same as on PC as it is on console. So yeah, there is that. So let's get into the stats of the Cobra. We've got the 268 heat penetration, and it's a heat round. 268 pen, fantastic. Heat round, though, is a bit of a pain in the arse, because heat gets absorbed by spaced armour on occasion, and there'll be a lot of times where you'll probably pen 3 out of 4 shells on a surprise attack on someone's side. And there'll be also certain tanks that you just, like, say a Type 5 Heavy, where you'll pretty much struggle to pen them most of the time, unless you get the rear. Same as a Mouse, or a Mouse Chin, or something like that. But when you do pen these shells for 360, it's pretty dirty. And it's really quite nice. And like I said, the intraclip speed shoots those rounds out, but you just got to be aware that it is heat, and the fact that you get Hesh as a premium round means that also, yeah, you do have that problem of there will be tanks that you'll just see and you'll go, I don't know what I'm supposed to do against this unless I literally get to its rear. It does have 490 damage Hesh rounds, like I say, which are pure dirty. It's so filthy when you clip someone out for like 2k. I've done it a couple of times where you drive up to someone, it's like, oh, hello, Mr. Kampfpanzer. Bang, 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 and it's dead. And you're like, well, look at that. That was good, wasn't it? That has meme potential. That has true meme potential. If you can get the good situation for it, that's fine. Now, unfortunately, this tank can't fit the ammo swapper, which they've also removed from quite a few other autoloaders in this patch. So you do have to pick and choose when you're going to load the Hesh and the heat. And with the really, really long reload that this tank has, it does be a bit of a problem for switching between the two. You've got 1600 HP, which is decent. It's not the best, not the worst. It's okay. You've got a 40 km/h top speed, which is slow. 40 km/h for a medium tank is slow. That's like old Centurion levels. It's really not that quick at 40 km/h. That is slow for a medium tank. But it does have a really good power to weight, so it does hit that speed really quickly. And it also has a 25 km/h reverse speed, which is really quick as well. So you can reverse out of action really, really fast, and it's quite funny for that, really. And yeah, like I said, the top speed is slow, but it do hit it really easily with the power to weight, essentially. You do have 370 meters view range, which is the worst out of all Tier 9 mediums, because the second worst is the 430 version 2 with 380. and then everything else is pushing 390 to 410 view range. The 370 meters view range is not that good. You really want to be running optics to make sure that you actually have view range, because you're just not going to be able to spot anything otherwise. And add to that you've got 380 meters of moving concealment and 360 meters of still concealment. Your camera rating is pretty poor, so you will always get spotted. And yeah, I mean, you're going to probably always be spotted anyway, because this tank is mostly wanting to play hull down, where it can just peek over and drop a clip, or it's going to be up close and personal in people's faces, because the gun handling is not that great at all. So you got a 4.4 round a minute rate of fire, which is a 50-second base reload. It's so long. You can get the reload down to about 40.5 seconds, which again, like I say, is a long time. Once you've dropped the clip, it feels like a long time. I mean, you've got tanks, say, like the T-54E1, for example, which has 1600 clip potential, which is slightly better than you, only ever so slightly. That reloads in like 28 or 29 seconds. Doesn't quite have the intra-clip that you have at 1.5 seconds, but it, reloads so much quicker. And the 5120 is another one that reloads a little bit quicker as well for a better clip potential. But the thing is, you do have that 210 Hesh, which is dirty, and no one else can really match on that in those regards. You have a 3.8 second aim time, which is really long. Yeah, that is exceptionally long aim time, and it's an absolute pain at times. You'll be running a GLD for sure to get that down to, I think I got it down to about 3.1 second aim time, which is more manageable. It's still really bad, but it's more manageable. Thankfully, the soft stats for the gun aren't that bad, so that it doesn't bloom out that much, which is decent. So yeah, you got the 1.5 second intro clip, like I say, which is absolutely dirty. It makes this clip feel dirty, and it makes it feel like painful when it starts shooting at you. You know about it very, very quickly, because it takes your HP away very, very fast. You do have a 793 meters a second shell velocity, which is slow. 800 meters a second is very, very slow, really. And for all 3 rounds on a 4-shot autoloader with 3.8 seconds aim time, yeah, it does feel pretty derpy with the .38 accuracy as well at times. Mostly when you're at range. When you're at range, this tank does not feel good. And yeah, that's pure pain. You do have to be aware of that. You have to be wary of that. That's why I say this tank is an up-close and personal brawler. But it doesn't really want to be brawling either. But you're going to be up close and personal to make sure that the gun can work, because this just doesn't help at all. It's really not nice for the tank. You do have 10 degrees of gun depression though, which is pretty damn nice, and makes you really flexible on a ridge. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it though, but it is 10 degrees of gun depression. So in terms of turret armor, you've got 130 on the front, 80 on the side, and 40 on the rear. Now, this 130 is actually a little bit of a lie, because if you look at here, you've actually got a 215mm plate here, which is nigh on impenetrable when you're on flat. This upper section here is 260 to 270, which is pretty nice. But there is this little bar here, which is 240 to 250, which people will pen a lot. And it seems to be that people just sort of auto-aim and they just slam a shot straight into this bar every time and pen you. It's really quite annoying. And this is a bait, right? This Armour model is a bait. It's not that good, but at the same time, it's very, very troll. And if you're not paying attention, you don't shoot it in the correct position, it will bounce shells off of you will bounce shells off of it, which is quite nice. So as you can see, flat on, the lower plate is a bait. You are not penning that lower plate. Just shoot the upper plate. As you can see, it's 224 to 225 effective. So you want to shoot the upper plate if you're shooting one of these things head on. Don't shoot the lower plate, or shoot this little section here if you see it hull down. I mean, look here when it is using its full 10 degrees of gun depression and it's looking at you. That bar is still showing to you and will be decently easy to hit unless it keeps moving up and down. But it still needs, 235 to 250 pen. So if you're facing tier 7s and 8s, they're going to struggle to pen this armor profile. They really are. But tier 9s and 10s won't struggle as much. And add to that, you don't side scrape with this tank whatsoever. Don't do it. You only have 30mm of side armor, which means that 91 plus caliber guns will pen you and overmatch your side, and you can't side scrape with this tank, so don't do it. Also, derp guns, seem to pen you as well, because it's only 30mm of armor, and you do have this little lip here sticking out. So if you're going past someone and they don't shoot you here, they will still pen you here. I've had a Type 5 Heavy pen me here twice now, where it's just driving along and I'm just coming over a ridgeline to get up behind it, and it just slams a shot into this little bit here and pens me for 1400. Yeah, that's not fun. Like I say, the armor on this model, on this tank, is really troll. I wouldn't rely on it all that much, but it is troll. So if you do ricochet on it, don't think it is pure paper, because it's not pure paper. It's just troll armor. So like I say, you got 370 meters view range, which is not good. You got 44 degrees a second turret traverse, which is really great. You've got 950 horsepower, and you've got a power to weight ratio of 29.15. I thought that was an error on their part when they put that in. That is really, really good. It's mad quick, and like I said, that really helps it get to that 40km/h top speed really, really well. I mean, if you were to run a traction system on this and get it up to 44km/h, you will hit that 44km/h very, very easily. And like I say, 25km/h reverse speed is really good. You've also got a 48 degree a second traverse speed on the tracks, which is ridiculously quick. It does turn very, 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 very fast. And yeah, you do turn quicker than your turret, so you do have to bear that in mind. But you can sort of negate that by using something like rapid aim. You got terrain resistances of 1, 1.1, and 1.9, which isn't the worst. Sorry, it's pretty decent. But yeah, that's the stats for the Cobra. Like I say, on the whole, this tank it's okay. Situationally, it's really good, and then a lot of other situations, it's really just not nice, because you have to sit there twiddling your thumbs for quite a while for a 40.5 second reload, which does, like I say, feels very long, and then it's even more frustrating when the poor shell velocity mixed with poor aim time does let you down a lot. But if you do get up close and personal, and manage to drop these HESH clips in, or even the heat clips for 360 for 4 shots, it's really dirty, and you sit there going, oh my god, that's filthy. But when they miss, and you have to sit there with a long reload, and everything starts penning you really easily and stuff like that, it's a pain, and you can't get anywhere that quickly. But yeah, that's the Cobra. On the whole, it's okay. Is it worth it for 4k gold? Probably, to be honest. The fact that this is 17.5k gold normally without being in the Ultimate Pass, yeah, 4k gold is probably worth it. But on the whole, yeah, the tank's a bit of a pain, but can be absolutely filthy. It's all down to that 1.5 second intro clip, which is utterly disgusting. So as always, everybody, I'm going to send you over to the replays. Like I said, no garage portion this time where we have a look at the commander. I'll just show the commander in the replays, and that's purely down to the fact that the Wargaming have bugged up the system quite badly, and the garage is just inaccessible for me, unfortunately. It is what it is. So I'll send you to the replays. Enjoy them. So here we are in the replays with the Cobra, and I have 4 replays for you. The first 2 that you're going to see are 2 of the more average games I've had in the tank, and then the final 2 are the 2 of the best games I've had in the tank. And like I say, it is a very, very situational tank. It's a tank that, if you get it in the right situation and you can start dumping out clips and just be unmolested, you'll have a great time. If things don't look at you, and you get to just dump out these ridiculously fast clips, it's going to go well. But it doesn't always happen like that. And if people start to focus you down, it's not pleasant. And if the games are really quick as well, you don't tend to be able to get as much damage out, because, well, you spend most of the time reloading, which is, a fault. So in terms of a crew on the Cobra, I do run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Rapid Aim, Clutch Braking, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun. Now I run Rapid Aim to make that turret traverse better so it can keep up with the track traverse, and I run Clutch Braking because I wanted to make the track traverse better, because it's already really good. I wanted to make it even better, right? But at the same time, this is the same crew I run in the Caliban, and that's why I put it in, and I do usually experiment with different perks on the crew. But because the garage bugged up, I haven't been able to, so that is the crew that I'm using. If I ever put another Cobra replay set up, you will probably see that the crew is a little bit different. I mean, you could swap out, to be honest, like I said, the reason I'm running Rapid Aim is to make sure that the turret traverse keeps up with the track traverse. So realistically, you could actually get rid of Clutch Braking and put something in like track mechanics, so that if you do get tracked, which it does get tracked a lot because the track health isn't that much, you can get your tracks back on really quickly. Or you could run something like firefighting or fire prevention to make sure that if you get set on fire, it doesn't happen as much, or safe stowage to make sure that the ammo rack doesn't get damaged. And obviously having safe stowage might be quite nice as well, because I haven't really been ammo racked that much in the tank. If you do get ammo racked, you can have like an 80-second reload, and that is ridiculous, and you definitely don't want that. So you could do something like that. It's up to you, it's how you want to play it, but like I said, that's the crew I have been using. It is the same crew I had in the Caliban. But like I say, I would probably change a little bit in here and there, but I can't access the anything to do with the garage, so it is what it is. And like I say, that's what I mean about the ammo loadout as well. I'd probably carry one extra clip of heat instead of the 12 rounds of Hesh, but I've not been able to change it, so that's what you've seen in the replays. Because the Hesh rounds are great, but it's very situational, and you're more likely going to always be using the heat, unless you're memeing and you use all of the Hesh rounds all the time. In terms of equipment, run vert stabs, GLD, and optics. Optics, like I say, because the view range is abysmal, and I want to make the view range at least somewhat decent. Then GLD to make the 3.8 second aim time just better, because the 3.8 second aim time is dreadful, and you need to make it better. And like so, you can get it down to like 3.08 second aim time, which is fantastic. Well, it's not fantastic, but it's fantastic compared to the 3.8 second aim time, right? And every little helps to that aim time. And vert stabs, because you want to make it more accurate. You can get it down to like 0.25 accuracy if you do that. So this first game is on proc, and this is generally the typical really quick game. We've got 1800 damage so far with 472 assistance. We've got this Skoda T50. Unfortunately, one misses, but one's penned. We fired the fourth shell, and it just doesn't pen the Skoda. It ends up getting absorbed by his spaced armour. That's where the heat is really annoying. And we've managed 2.5k damage. And now we're waiting for the reload. I've boosted it with food, because I'm just hoping that I can get another clip out. I mean, their team positioning has been very, very strange, and which is why they've lost so quickly. But like I said, I was having a lot of sub 5-minute games today, and it really wasn't a good time for the Cobra in that regard. When you get the longer games, that's where this tank will shine, because you can get those clips in more often and, you know, get more shots out. And now we've got this Kampfpanzer that's left. We go for the shot, hit his upper plate, which we're never going to pen, but he's sideways on, we slap it in. And we finish the game with 2.8k damage and 982 assistance. Not a decent game for the Cobra, but like I say, that shows in those quicker games, you can't quite keep up with the reloads. And especially when they do weird team positionings like that, it does struggle a little bit. But you did also see how nice it is, like with that Skoda T50, you saw how quickly it dumps the clip. Now, unfortunately, because we were at range, one of them missed, and then one of them was only absorbed by the spaced armour. It is what it is, that's just the heat problem. Like, if this tank had an AP round instead of heat, glorious. I'd say probably would be glorious, but having this heat round just makes it a little bit frustrating at times when you think, oh, I'm going to kill this guy, and you don't. And the same as when you fire in the Hesh, sometimes it just doesn't pen, and you're like, oh, it's just splashed, great. So we're on the second game, we're on Cliff, and on Cliff we're going to go to where I would normally go, always on Cliff. It don't matter whether I'm bottom tier, top tier, mid tier, whatever. If we spawn in the spawn we've just got, I will be rushing this position in the bowl, because this bowl position is very, very strong. You can catch people going along the BC line, and you can just get a lot of shots out everywhere, essentially. So we're fully loaded right now, and it's like, well, hello, Mr. Leopard, you are easy to pen. And this is where I wish we had the ammo swapper for this tank, right? Because I could just load Hesh, and I could have just eviscerated that guy. As it stands, we missed one because of poor shot choice, really. It wasn't really anything to do with the Derpagon, it was just poor shot choice. And we managed to do 1,046 assistance in 3 shots. It's pretty nice, right? There's nearly 1,100. I think there was a low roll or 2 in there, but it is what it is. We're just stuck with the reload now. We're just waiting for this reload of this tank to go in so that I can get up there and get attacking the Leopard again. But I'm just watching their team down the 1-2, because we've got an E100 here now and the Skoda T25. It's going to make it a little bit awkward to be able to get my shots out of my clip. There's a Conqueror that's side scraping there, and I'm thinking, do I want to face that? Because that Conqueror is going to hurt. No, I don't. What we're going to do here. So we've got this Super Sherman down here that's watching the 1-2. There's a Scorpion and a heavy tank, so I'm like, okay, you know what? We're going to go round and we're going to try and get the shots into this Scorpion, get rid of him. The Scorpion dies to the Emil 1, as you see, so it's like, okay, perfect. Let's we're just being a bit careful, obviously, because there is stuff here. But the E100's here now, and it's like, okay, Mr. E100, you be the focus of people's attention, you get the spots. There's a T-77 here, so it's like, okay, we're going to make a mistake. We end up firing 3 of our 4 shells at that T-77, and we only pen 1 out of 4 in total. We made a mistake because we sat in front of one T-77, and then the other one was unspotted and fired most of its clip at us, which took all of our hit points. That was a big mistake. We shouldn't have done that. That was a terrible trade. But you saw there what the derpy gun handling is like. With 268 pen, we should have buttered that T-77, and unfortunately we ricocheted off his turret, and the shots that were going for his lower plate ended up just going elsewhere. Essentially, they ended up going underneath him, wide of him. The shots at distance like that just aren't good, and unfortunately that's what happened. But now we've got no hit points, but we're going to go up here. We're just going to make sure that this stockade can't shoot us, but now we can get into a position to shoot down the T-77. And obviously, like I say, we have some sort of turret armor. So here we go, T-77 turret front. We should be penning this. And unfortunately, we end up bouncing 2. 1 pens and 1 misses again. And the frustration of this gun with its aim time really letting us down there, and the shell velocity leading to weird places as well. Yeah, and unfortunately, we just didn't pen that T-77, and like T-77 is a pretty easy tank to pen because it doesn't really have any armour for a heavy tank. You know, it's got an upper plate that can bounce stuff, but for the most part the turret armour is trash, and the lower plate's pretty poor. But we just haven't managed to pen it in these 2 clips. We managed to get like 1 in out of 4 both times, and it feels like such a wasted set of potential. But here we go, we've got the T-77 again. We're going to aim the shot into the left of his gun. First one goes in, second one bounces. Very slim shot on the side of his turret, of course it goes in, but we low roll and we have to finish him off for 2 HP, which again feels like a waste of a shell, but it is what it is. The low rolls had us. I mean, at the end of the day, for a heavy tank, you could be running something like advanced armor or armor angling to make sure that, you know, it makes the low rolls happen, because, I mean, at the end of the day, we didn't really roll anywhere near our average at all against those guys, so it's quite possible they could have been reducing the damage they take by using armor angling and stuff like that. But it is frustrating when you get those sorts of shots. It really is. So now there's this Type 5 Heavy down here, and I'm thinking, right, I kind of want to YOLO this guy when I get the clip in and go after his behind. So what we're going to do is we're going to go for the surprise. It's like, hello, Mr. Type 5 Heavy. He has not realised. It's like, well, hello, sir, goodbye. We're going to get 2 in, 3 in to finish him off, and yeah, the Emil got a shot in, which meant that we couldn't fully clip him out with our clip. But it is what it is. We've got a nice clip into him. We finished with 3.3k damage. I end up cutting the clip there because we end up spending about 3 minutes driving, trying to get to the other tanks at the other side of the map, but we don't get there, and it's just not fun to watch, really. But yeah, we finished with 1209 base XP with 3.4k damage. And say, you saw a lot of the frustrations in that replay with the gun, and how it sometimes just decides, no, mate, I ain't hitting that. Why do you want to hit that shell? No, I'm not doing that. And then you have to sit and wait for the 40-odd seconds for the clip to come in. And yeah, it's definitely a frustration in that way. And like I said, it's what it is with the clip, that sometimes it will be just missed shots, and you will be stuck with that. And like I say, when it comes to the heat as well, with it being the problem that when it does hit spaced armour, it does like to just get absorbed. Yeah, I sometimes wish that this tank did have an AP round. But we're on Rezanai in the 3rd game, and like I say, these are my 2 best games in this tank that you're going to see now. Sort of the 2 best scenarios / replays / situations that we end up getting into, which is nice. And yeah, we're on Rezanai, so we're going to go to the castle on Rezanai because it's a good place to go. You can get shots out everywhere. Obviously, it's a high point on the map, and you know, you can get shots out from there across people that run down the JK line, and if they push aggressively on the 7-8 line or the CD line, you can also get shots at them from like F4 if they pushed aggressively, which is quite nice, which is kind of what you want to be doing with your autoloader. But right here, we're pushing into the middle of the castle, and it's like, there's a Cobra and there's an E75. What are they doing? They seem to be pushing quite aggressively across this bridge, so it's like, right, let's get in over here and get in on the side of this E75. So we're going to go haul down over here and get this Cobra. It's like, hello, Mr. Cobra. Hello, Mr. clone double. Get 2 in, get 3 in, and we get 4 in. And there goes Mr. Cobra. Just like that, in the blink of an eye, he's gone 1200 damage. That's how deadly this tank can be. When it does catch someone out, in the blink of an eye, in 4.5 seconds from firing the first shot, they have lost all of their hit points. Yeah, 4.5 seconds and they can lose 1200 hit points. Or, well, yeah, somewhere around the 1200 hit points anyway. It's like more like 13 to 1350 or something like that if you count 360. If you're talking about the heat clip, it's nearly 2k in 4.5 seconds. Not heat clip, Hesh clip. 2.5k. Yeah, just... it's crazy. But here we go against the E75. We end up penning one, ricocheting one off the top because it just went derped above him, and we finish him off again with another one. So we instantly reload the clip because it's just better to have a full clip when we go in on someone instead of just one shell. That will make it awkward though if we're not paying attention later on, because like I say, the ammo count that this tank has is not the best, and yeah, it can lead to some awkward moments with clips where you end up starting reloading and you go, oh my god, I'm only reloading one shell. Because you've decided to reload, you know, obviously half a clip or something like that. And yeah, you just got to be mindful of it. And that's why I say it's probably better to take more heat than 12 rounds of Hesh, but it, you know. So right now we're loaded and it's like, well, Mr. Emil 2, I am here for your life because I am a Cobra, and he gets hit by someone else, which means we get to finish him off with the clip. We've got 1 round left, so we sling it in at the FV2 on 5B183, and unfortunately we just ricochet off the upper plate of the Death Star. It looked like it was going straight for the lower plate, but it missed. Is what it is, and we're on a reload. But we're seeing that they are pushing aggressively against this BC line, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get over here and be ready to shoot them if they push over. This Kampfpanzer's there, and it's like, oh, if only I was loaded, I could fire at this Kampfpanzer, right? If only I was reloaded. But we're nearly there, 6 seconds to go. The Cobra's there, the Kampfpanzer's still out in the open, so with 2 seconds left, we managed to get the clip in. We get 1 shot into his upper plate at a weird angle, but he gets unspotted. And we're just looking for the shot the T95E6, can't see it, but we do get to finish off that Kampfpanzer after he gets respotted. By the way, I think this replay and the next replay are both the same in the fact that the audio is a little bit out of sync. I'm not quite sure what was going on there with the recording, but it is what it is. Again, I can't do anything about that, unfortunately. So yeah, when you're hearing it fire, sometimes it's firing, or you can hear the sound of the fire, and then it happens, right? It's really weird. It's weird to watch, anyway. But yeah, now we're reloading, because I could have stuck with 2 in the clip, but I decided to go against it. I'm actually loading the Hesh clip now, because there's a lot of tanks out there that are, you know, not the most heavily armoured in the universe. So I'm thinking, you know what, maybe there's time to get some meme shells in. I can get some shells in against the Cobra, T95E6 I can pen with Hesh if I hit it in its lower plate in the right spot, just as much as I would pen it with heat. You know, there's quite a few, and same as the light tank I can get as well with the Hesh. So it's like, okay, you know what, I'm going to conserve some of the heat rounds for if I get against something like that, VK7201K, and just hit some of the squishier targets with the Hesh rounds. Because that's what you've got to be looking at. When you're looking at the team composition, is thinking, right, what can I pen with Hesh? And when you look at what's left on the enemy team, you go, right, okay, I can pen that with Hesh, I can pen that with Hesh, I can pen with that with Hesh. So I'm going to go with it. So we're coming over here because I'm thinking, right, I'm going to try and get in behind the T95E6. And just as I make the move, which is putting me all in, these 2 get spotted. And it's like, well, hello, Mr. 1390. Goodbye, Mr. 1390, with the Hesh straight in. Managed to pen 2. Obviously, we missed the first one. We've got 1 shell left for this Cobra. And it's like, right, okay, I need to get around the side of this guy to pen him. He's firing Hesh, though, which he's not going to pen at all on my front, so I was quite happy to keep him frontally on so that he'd bounce the Hesh, or, well, just splash the Hesh, which is exactly what happened, and we managed to finish him off by getting round his side. Because that is the thing, the Cobra cannot pen itself with Hesh in the front. 210 pen is just not enough. You have to get around the side or the rear. I finished that game with 6 kills, 4.3k damage, the 16 direct hits, which is nice. 14,000 credits, yeah, this tank doesn't make many credits. The Sniper, Top Gun, First Class, 1620 base XP. A nice game for the Cobra. But yeah, like I said, the Cobra cannot actually pen itself with Hesh in the front. So if you're in the Cobra and you come against another Cobra, which there's a lot of in the matchmaker at the minute, just keep yourself frontally facing. And then just let them splash you all the time with the Hesh. And if you've got Hesh loaded, get round the side and rear, which is, you know, a little bit easy because of the fact that your track traverse is so good. Get round them and slap the Hesh rounds into the side, or even the heat rounds if you have heat rounds, but you don't have to get round the side for that. Just a little bit of advice. And it's the same as if you're anything that's armoured. If you are armoured and you have a pretty good armour and this thing starts firing Hesh at you, just keep frontally facing. Or give it your sidearm, or give anything that's high in spaced armour, and it will not pen you with the Hesh. So we're on the last game, and the last game is on Prokhorovka, and we are actually pretty top tier in this regard. And maps like Prok are pretty decent for stuff like the Cobra, because you can actually get hulled down, and you can sort of time your engagement and create create your own time to get these reloads in. Now, we started off with Hesh because we are top tier and there's a lot of tanks we can pen with Hesh, and we managed to get a nice clip off. We managed to do 1,300 damage with it because we didn't really pen all of them, but it was actually a case of we splashed 2, pen 2. So we did near enough what the heat clip would have done, but when we actually penned stuff like the Hurl and Hund and the T92, it really did hurt them. So we're going to move into the bowl because I decided, you know what, I'm going to try and spot stuff at the back, and by doing this I can try and use my decent turret armour, try and bounce stuff off the turret armour, and like I say, spot the camping TDs at the back and get some big Hesh clips in. But unfortunately the artillery is here to say hi. He slaps us for 550, and we're going to try and spot them. There we go, we spot a Ferdinand, we send a shot in but it doesn't pen. We splash him, but then we manage to pen all 3 shots. That Ferdinand, in the blink of an eye, went from full health to none because of the Hesh clip. Absolutely filthy. Like I say, 4.5 seconds, it's crazy. But we did, unfortunately, lose all of our hit points. We got absolutely slapped by something that's at the back there. We ended up losing, what, 750 odd, 780 odd hit points. And that means we're a one-shot for pretty much everything in the game now, which is really awkward. But we're on 2.7k damage in the first couple of minutes, which is nice. And we're nearly loaded, and I've kept the Hesh loading in, like I say, because there's quite a lot of tanks that are quite squishy. And it's like, right, now we're loaded. What's next? What's going to happen? What we're going to shoot? This 430 version 2, we have to hit the lower plate to pen it, so it's like, okay, we're not doing that. Then a Charioteer gets spotted. 1 Hesh clip in, 2 Hesh clips in, 3 shots in, I should say. And he's gone in 3 shots, just like that. We 3-shot that poor guy, and we have 1 round of change left. The Hesh, when I say the Hesh clip is dirty, and if people like that Charioteer get spotted, in the blink of an eye, their hit points are gone. It's just so dirty. But like I say, it's very situational, because there's not that many tanks we're going to be able to pen with 210 Hesh pen, especially at tier 9 where you see tier 10 for the most part. And the heat clip is decent, but there's a lot of tanks that do that sort of damage in a burst quicker and better, like the T54E1 does. And while that gun is far more inaccurate than this tank generally, it has better aim time, so it's aimed in quicker and will generally not miss as many of its shots as this tank will. It also has better shell velocity too. But yeah, as I say, it's situational, but when you get those shots where you have a tank at your mercy and you can just drop a clip in, it's absolute filth. So we managed to get another clip in there and pump our damage up to 4.8k damage. We managed to kill the Scorpion and then get another shot or 2 into the Projecto 54. And there we go, the Piggy is spotted at the back. That is key for us, because he's the guy that was more than likely going to shut us down every time we got spotted, and he was what we were truly worried about. And thankfully the Lorraine is gone. We've nearly got another clip in, and it's like, right, what do I want to do with this clip? I have to be careful, because obviously I'm a one-shot for everything on the enemy team. And yeah, we do have to be careful. So we're just going to keep poking over a little bit to see if we can spot things to shoot. And the Projecto 54 on their team over there, we get 1 shot into him. We've still got 3 shots left. He takes another hit for 221 from the tank destroyer in the corner, and I think that plays a part in my thinking here, because I think, okay, that Projecto 54 is going to die. This Projecto 54 ends up putting himself in a position where I can get over and stay hull down and get a shot in. We try and get a shot into his side, but we hit the 430 version 2, and then the Projecto 54 at the back on the other side kills us. But we do finish the game with 4 kills, 5.5k damage, and 823 assistance. Yeah, I do think that I thought he was going to die. So I was like, you know, now this guy's out in the open, I'm going to get rid of him. But unfortunately, it is what it is, and we got shut down. But 1644 base XP is a nice game for the Cobra with 5.5k damage. That was the best game I've had. The Cobra, for 4k gold, it's pretty damn decent to pick up, because it is 17.5k normally. It is a very situational tank, though. So, it can be good, it can be bad. So, as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!